Let me acknowledge with pride and gratitude the presence of Their Excellencies, the Ambassador of Turkey, the Ambassador of Turkey, who is here with us. He was urging me to speed up the establishment of an embassy of the Republic of Botswana in Turkey. We are working very hard on it. The hope is that before the end of the year we would have set up and sent an ambassador to Turkey, we hope. Thank you very much. We have the Ambassador of Algeria and the Ambassador of the Republic of Angola here with us. Angola and Botswana are great partners, not competitors. That is why Angola has offered Botswana a 30% stake in the Lobito refinery. This is the relationship between Botswana and Angola. We recognize the representatives of other countries representing their ambassadors who could not be here with us. The Defense Attaché of Mozambique. We are grateful. Let me acknowledge the security cluster, those who take care of our protection and security. The Commissioner of the Botswana Police, who is our host here today, Me Diana Marate. We thank you for bringing us here today. The Directorate of Intelligence and Security Services, DIS, is here, represented by its deputy, brilliant lawyer, criminal defense attorney, one of the finest I have met in my life. And I've met many and I've trained many. I've taught lawyers. He's in a league of his own. Great respect, Aubakwe Moemedi Monamo, Deputy Director General of DIS. Thank you very much for being here today. And this DIS is a different DIS. This one, when you come to your house or you hear that they came to your house, you have nothing to fear. You can go up to them and have tea with them. They are your bastion of safety and security. You must work closely with them. You must alert them to concerns and threats, and they will respond appropriately. We have the Deputy Commander of the Botswana Defense Force, Reselo, who is here with us as well. We have the Director of the Drug Enforcement Agency. They ensure that we understand the danger posed to us individually and collectively by drugs. We have many of these now creeping into our communities and causing havoc. These synthetic drugs, cat, crack cocaine, heroin, and others, extremely dangerous. Dangerous to your health, physical health, dangerous to your emotional and psychological well-being, dangerous to your social welfare as well. We need to be on guard. We thank the Drug Enforcement Agency for their presence here today. We thank other government agencies who are with us, members of the business community, the sponsors of this great event. We are humbled by your generosity. Let me also recognize in a special way the Botswana Police Service. They do admirable work. These folks work through pain and trauma. We traumatize our police. They are always the first responders. They are the first to be called to scenes of crime. They experience firsthand the horror of people stabbed multiple times, throats slit, skulls cracked, limbs severed, blood flowing. They are always the first to arrive and experience, witness these gruesome scenes. They are human beings as well, and they get affected. They live and work through the trauma, and the trauma keeps piling up on them. They can hardly cope. And so they breathe through the wounds of the people that they serve. They understand your pain, your anguish. It is their pain, it is their anguish too. We must work with them. We must help our police. We must encourage them. We must show gratitude and appreciation to them for the great work that they do. They are here with us today. On any other occasion, they would have requested or required to be paid nights out and other allowances. They have offered themselves freely to us. They are here without any expectation of reward. They are here in selfless service to you. We must appreciate and acknowledge them gratefully. Let us appreciate our young people, those out of school, those in precarious situations of employment and existence. They struggle, they suffer, and they fall victim to drugs and substance abuse. We must support them. We must encourage them. We must counsel them. We must minister to them. And the little ones, my best friends in this world, the little ones, we owe them a safe world. We owe them a safe and nurturing environment where they feel loved, embraced, encouraged, supported. We owe it to them. It is our duty to them as adults, as elders, as parents, as members of communities. These children must be raised by their villages, their wards, their leadership. The mayor of Francistown is here with us. They call it the city of all things precious. And we must make it precious indeed, by curbing crime, overcoming the scourge of drugs, making our people safe in the streets, in the walkways, at whatever time of day. These violent and intrusive crimes must stop. Rape, defilement, which are now on the rise, need to be curbed, and they must come to an end. So we acknowledge the mayor, we acknowledge the local authorities, the councillors who are here, council chairpersons. We thank you very much. We also thank the traditional leadership. And we must also gratefully acknowledge the clergy, the pastors, religious leaders, community leaders who work with and amongst members of communities. We are challenged as a country, we are challenged as communities. Drugs have invaded our country and dislocating families, damaging relationships, causing trauma and death. It is our responsibility to fight these. The family is also threatened. The institution of marriage is under severe stress and strain. The rates of divorce in the country are very high. In fact, they are very high across the world. I'm told right now there's a backlog of about 2,000 or so divorce cases pending at the High Court. People who want out, who can't wait to get out of their marriages. But that does not include those who are still within, but are unhappy, tragically unhappy. We are told that about 80% of the people in marriage, 80% are unhappy. Some are trapped in these unfulfilling erotic entanglements. They are stuck because of issues of property, because they are married in community of property, and leaving would mean a division of the property. Some are stuck because they want to keep up appearances. You are afraid of what your pastor will say. You are afraid of what your neighbors will say. You are afraid of what your community will say if you divorce. So there are many people who are trapped in unfulfilling marriages because they are afraid that they will be disparaged, that they will receive scorn and rebuke from the community. Now I want to advise you now, as a lawyer, let's forget everything else. I'm a lawyer by habit, training, and practice. As a lawyer, those of you who want to get married, please understand, every marriage is automatically out of community of property. You are the one who turns it into something it isn't. you sign in and turn your marriage into a marriage in community of property. If you don't, it is out. And I've advised many prospective couples, I've said to them, please get married out of community of property. Because when the time comes for you to go, your difficulties will be lessened. This is not to encourage breakups or divorces. It is to acknowledge a reality, maybe even an inevitability. It will happen, it may happen. We don't wish it to happen. But in the event that it happens, let it be easy. Let it be swift. Let it be without hostility, without acrimony, without violence. And the bulk of the acrimony arises from the shared estate, the shared property. Please get married out of community of property. Please. That's a lawyer's advice. I don't know what the pastors will say. I'm not a pastor. They will tell you what they believe, and you will make your choice. When you are unhappy or unfulfilled, seek the intervention of family members, friends, counselors, religious leaders. But at a certain point, you must make the call. Do you want to stay in an unhappy relationship, or do you want to give yourself another shot at happiness? Please reflect on that decision very carefully. Sometimes very quickly, because it might mark the difference between not just happiness and unhappiness, but life and death. When it is not working, it is not an indictment on you. It is not suggesting that you have failed. It is not a sign of failure. If your relationship, your marriage is not working, maybe you made the right choice. You made the wrong choice. Maybe you were not fit for each other or fit for marriage in the first place. Because when you get married, we don't subject you to an interview. We don't do psychometric examination. Do you qualify? Are you mentally stable? What are the traumas that you've experienced in your earlier life? What are the repressed anxieties and other challenges, psychosocial issues? We don't check these. But when you want to get divorced, now we start asking, why? Why are you divorcing? And yet the law here says our divorce is not fault-based. We are not looking for fault. We don't care whose fault it is. If you want to divorce, please divorce, and do it quickly. And so the law must also facilitate, help people get out. And you know why you should get out quickly? Because if you want to get back into the same marriage, get married to the same person after you have divorced that person, there's no prohibition. You can remarry. So if you are not sure, get out. When you get sure, come back in. It's open to you. But the point is that all these tensions within marriages and relationships feed and fuel the violence that we see. Gender-based violence, violence simpliciter. It is fueled by these tensions. People get so angry at each other that they kill each other. And I want to advise men and women separately now, in each other's presence. Women, in the many murder cases that I have personally handled as a lawyer, where women were killed by their lovers, husbands, spouses, the trigger was words spoken, words flung at the man. In one case, murder case where the man was sentenced to death, and I had the unenviable task of handling his case on appeal, before the Court of Appeal. These two lovers worked together in a company. They were both artisans, the lady and the man. 10 o'clock during the tea break, the lady approaches the guy and says, I no longer want to be in this relationship with you. I'm ending the relationship. And the break time ends and they go back to work. Somewhere during the relationship, this man had bought the lover, the woman, a toolbox. And during the course of the relationship, he had borrowed from her, from that toolbox, a crowbar. So he was using the crowbar. So at the time that the relationship is terminated at 10 o'clock in the morning of that day, the crowbar is with him. So in the evening, he takes the crowbar and says to himself, let me take this crowbar to this lady and return it and confirm whether what she said about ending the relationship was her final position. So he goes, about dusk, 7:30, it's dark, finds the woman outside her rented house. He's holding the crowbar and he says, in fact, before he says anything, the woman says, what are you doing here? I told you the relationship between you and I is over. And he says to her, well, I didn't think you were serious. But at any rate, I came to return your crowbar. He's holding the crowbar. And he's trying to hand the crowbar to her. And she says, before she receives the crowbar, she says, yes, the relationship is over. In fact, do you remember that you've always accused me of having an illicit relationship with so-and-so? The guy says, yeah, but you've denied that. She says, no, in fact, it's true. That's the woman now, says to the guy, it is true, I have a relationship with that person. In fact, you are very weak in bed. You are useless. Says it to him. And that person is the man in these matters of the bedroom. At that moment, with the impact of these two statements, the guy swings the crowbar once and hits the lady across here. Once. He was a big guy. He hit her once, she fell, and he ran away. She died, actually, from just that one strike. So I stood in court because he had been sentenced to death. So I said to the judges of the Court of Appeal, look, folks, I have never been in this situation. I have never had my manhood not just denigrated, but insulted. I've never had to deal with a sudden confession of infidelity. I've never. And so I am not in a position to pass judgment on this man. Maybe you have been in this situation. You are older than me. I was talking to the judges. You are older, more experienced, more knowledgeable. Maybe you know how a person should react when in those circumstances. And so if you think, from your knowledge, a person should be able to exercise self-restraint in these circumstances, then hang this man. They looked at me and I had made other submissions. I was pushing. Now I was appealing to their emotions. And I said to them when I closed, when I sit down, when I finish my submissions, I would have done my job as a lawyer, and I would have done it to the best of my ability. The job that remains is yours. If you judge this man improperly, wrongly, the skies above will judge you, and they will judge all of you very harshly. And I sat down. And they said, please stand up. I stood. And they said, how many years of prison do you want us to give you? I said, give us 30 years. I said to the judges, give me and my client, sentence him not to death, give us 30 years to serve. We've killed somebody. It is unjustifiable. But it does not rise to the level of having him killed as well. And they said, yes, we give you 30 years. State, Janamiso, that is the case. And it's recorded in the law books. The words spoken cause a reaction. And so my advice to the ladies is, please let's moderate. Let's be measured and restrained in how we speak to our partners. Even when you are so wronged you'd kill, exercise self-restraint. Speak in a manner that doesn't invite immediate danger to yourself, if only to protect yourself. That is the advice to the ladies. Why? Because there's so much emotional abuse in relationships. And women are not strong enough to fight and physically harm. But words are like weapons. They wound sometimes. In fact, most times. And they can injure someone irreparably. So let us be careful. Let us always modulate our responses, our statements to each other, and speak to each other with respect and politeness, even when it is not deserved. That is my advice to women. But the ultimate is, when it is not working, please leave. Men, the tendency is to resort to default to violence. It is important to also moderate your own reactions, even in the face of grave provocation. Be measured, be calm, be ever the protector. Protect even the person who is insulting you. Protect the person who is undermining you at that point. Protect that person who is insulting you. Protect that person. That is the mark of greatness. That's what manhood is. Manhood is about protection. It's about giving comfort. It's about assuring safety. Even in the face of provocation, please avoid the temptation to resort to violence. These tensions also cause people now to abuse alcohol, drugs, and other substances. So we must minimize these tensions, reduce the propensity to go into drugs and alcohol abuse, and the tendency to resort to violence. If we do this, we will keep our communities safe, we will keep our women folk safe, our men folk safe, and the children safe. Because these children who are raised in environments that are hostile, inhospitable, you are training them to become violent themselves. So please, if you can't protect yourself, protect the children. For their own sake, for their own interests, for their own safety. Avoid shouting at each other. Avoid violence. Avoid these tensions. And the children can pick the tensions. Even when you are not talking to each other, they can sense and they react. And sometimes it affects their grades at school. It also shapes their behavior. This is what we must appreciate as parents, as elders. Young people, I know the unemployment situation is bad. We will wrestle with it together with you. We will receive the benefit of your ideas and insights as well. We will work together to overcome. And that is why, for those who are creatives, those in the creative industry, one of the things that we have agreed to do, because creatives generate content, and the budget from Botswana Television to acquire, to procure content is about 2 million, I'm told, 2 million pula. Very low. Cabinet has resolved that we will raise the amount available for content procurement to 200 million pula, so that the creatives, you know your guys who, what are these chaps called? The schizos, the Mdala Kache, many others. I see a lot of these characters with short TikTok clips that sensitize, that educate, that entertain, that comfort, that provoke sometimes, and they stimulate. So we want to be able to acquire this content and share it and pay them so that they go back and produce more content, that others come on board as well. And I'm told This will create close to about 8,000 or so jobs for young people, young creatives. We hope to do more, but that is just the beginning, so that they sensitize us about drugs, about crime, about all these issues that I've raised in a light-hearted, entertaining manner. So our young people, we look forward to your involvement in these efforts. But today we came to get together to see each other, I wish I could hug all of you, but I'm advised against it by the security. You don't understand that to be president is like being a hostage. You don't do what you want. You don't hug whom you want. They tell you. They have their own security protocols. So sometimes I break these protocols and they call me and admonish me. But I wish I could hug all of you. But you know I love all of you. You know that. And in the midst of all these challenges, one thing I can assure you is we are succeeding. We will succeed in a manner that will shock not just you. It will shock the rest of the continent. It will shock the world. That's how successful this country is going to be, I can assure you. And that success is not mine, it's yours. I want you to feel that success when it comes, and it's coming. We want you to have jobs, decent, sustainable jobs, not temporary, precarious employment, real jobs. We want you to be not tenderpreneurs, entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs make things. They don't take something somebody has made elsewhere, inflate the price, and sell it to government. They don't do that. Entrepreneurs sit and generate products, test them, put them out there, and have people use them, appreciate, and get helped. So we want entrepreneurs. And I know all of you here are entrepreneurs, farmers, manufacturers, business people. That's who we want. And we will strengthen this partnership. The police, we are most grateful. We used to fear the police. Now we can sit here and walk with them and run 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers. We were running with them, not running from them. Ordinarily, people run from the police. Here we are running to and with the police. Not out of fear, but out of a shared vision, shared values, shared goals to protect, to preserve, and to nurture all of us. So thank you very much for your attendance here in these numbers. I'm extremely happy to be here with you. And I can promise you, we will have these across the country to bring the communities and the police together, bring all of us together to commune, to share ideas, shake hands, share smiles, laugh, joke, and just be human beings. So thank you very much to the Commissioner of the Botswana Police. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you to